Hey, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to your ultimate destination for all things Dallas Cowboys. From the latest news, game analyses, rumors, to deep dives into player performances and strategies, we've got you covered. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a play. Let's dive into everything you need to know about America's team. The buzz around the league grew louder the moment whispers surfaced that edge rusher Jalen Phillips had put pen to paper with the Cowboys. And let me tell you, folks, the energy shifted instantly. Picture this: the Cowboys defense, already known for its flashes of brilliance, suddenly gaining a player whose ceiling has been talked about in hushed, almost reverent tones across front offices everywhere. It feels like one of those moments when a franchise takes a deep breath, looks around, and realizes it has just stepped into a different tier of competitiveness. And the thing is, nobody really saw this move coming with such force. Everyone was speculating about other names, other fits, other dreams, but behind closed doors, the Cowboys front office was crafting something big, something bold. The arrival of Phillips sends a message, not only to their division rivals, but to the entire conference. The Cowboys are not just playing around. They're reinforcing their walls with brick after brick of elite-level talent. And the way this rumor has exploded in locker rooms, among analysts, and across fan bases shows how monumental this signing could be for the future of their defensive identity. What is wild is how quickly insiders started connecting dots the moment this rumor caught fire. They began pointing out how Phillips fits seamlessly into the Cowboys' evolving defensive blueprint, a blueprint that emphasizes raw athleticism blended with disruptive versatility. He is not just an edge rusher. He is a chess piece, a movable weapon capable of lining up wide, attacking inside lanes, or dropping into unexpected coverage looks that leave offenses scrambling. And that is where things become exciting, because the Cowboys have been craving that kind of unpredictability. When you bring in someone with his combination of length, burst, and motor, you're effectively saying that every snap could look different, every pressure could come from a new angle, every offensive coordinator now has one more reason to lose sleep. The ripple effect is immediate. Suddenly, other players on the roster feel that spark, that competitive push that happens when a new alpha energy walks into the room. The vibe shifts, the urgency climbs, and the defense begins taking on an edge that had been missing just enough to matter. Insiders swear the Cowboys see him as a foundational piece, not a quick fix, and that alone makes the rumor feel even more electric. Of course, whenever a move like this leaks into the public sphere, the debates ignite instantly, and this one is no exception. Fans are already going back and forth, some celebrating the idea of Phillips anchoring the pass rush, while others wonder how the team will adjust schemes to maximize his strengths. But that is exactly what fuels the excitement. The uncertainty, the endless scenarios, the what-ifs that create late-night discussions between friends, podcasts, and comment sections. Cowboys fans have been craving a defensive identity that feels aggressive, fast, and relentless. And the notion that they might finally be stepping into that era has created a sense of electricity that is hard to ignore. Analysts are pointing out how his addition could change the way offenses plan protections, how quarterbacks might be forced into rush decisions, and how the Cowboys could finally be leaning into a defensive philosophy that complements their explosive offensive tendencies. These kinds of conversations do not happen unless a move is considered seismic, and clearly this one is. The rumor has gone from quiet whispers to stadium-shaking speculation, and every hour it seems to pick up even more momentum. Behind the scenes, people close to Phillips have described him as someone intensely driven, someone who thrives on elevating not only his own performance, but the energy of the entire defense around him. That personality trait alone has people inside the Cowboys organization buzzing, because this roster already contains several young defensive stars hungry to break into that elite category. Add a personality like Phillips, someone who wants to grind, someone who wants to dominate, someone who wants to prove doubters wrong, and suddenly you have the beginnings of a defensive culture shift. And culture, more than anything, is what Cowboys insiders have been emphasizing in quiet conversations with reporters. They want a defense with bite, with authenticity, with swagger that has earned snap after snap. The thought of Phillips walking into that locker room, shaking hands, making instant connections, and immediately raising the temperature of the entire room is exactly the type of energy that can reshape expectations. Even if it is only a rumor for now, it is a rumor with legs, with substance, with the kind of resonance that does not just appear out of nowhere. The ripple effect throughout the league has been fascinating to watch, because the moment word spread, rival teams began analyzing how his presence would alter the way they approached the Cowboys. Coaches began rethinking matchups, analysts began revising predictions, and scouts started digging deeper into film to gauge just how much this addition could influence high-stakes matchups. Phillips has always carried that aura of being one breakout season away from superstardom, and pairing him with a franchise that thrives under bright lights only amplifies the intrigue. People are already imagining how he would look in their iconic uniform, how he would celebrate sacks, how he would fit into their already loud and passionate fan base. Rival defenders are whispering about how this move would raise the overall competitive bar in their division, knowing that every defensive star craves a stage big enough to showcase their dominance. And make no mistake, the Cowboys stage is enormous, which is why this rumor feels like it has shaken the entire landscape. As the speculation continues to grow, the excitement within Cowboys Nation feels almost volcanic, bubbling hotter with every insider hint, every analyst breakdown, and every on-air comment from former players praising the potential pairing. People are imagining training camp clips, imagining sideline interactions, imagining the immediate chemistry he could build with the rest of the defensive front. And that is where the emotional side of the fan base really kicks in, because the Cowboys have always carried the weight of expectation, the desire to return to the top of the mountain. Adding someone like Phillips, someone whose presence alone can tilt the field, feeds directly into that hope. It feels like the franchise might finally be aligning pieces that fit not only strategically, but spiritually, creating a renewed identity that fans can rally behind. Whether this rumor solidifies into a signed deal or remains something whispered among insiders, its impact is undeniable. It has sparked imagination, ignited passion, and created the sense that something big, something transformative, is unfolding. The moment this second wave of whispers started rolling through the league, insiders began treating the possible Cowboys Phillips connection as more than just a headline. It became a full-blown storyline with emotional weight. You can feel it in the way commentators talk about it, using that careful tone reserved for rumors that feel almost too perfect to be true. What really fuels the fire is how seamlessly his skill set seems to align with what the Cowboys have been trying to construct on the defensive side for what feels like ages. The idea of pairing a hungry, ascending pass rusher with a system built on speed and chaos paints a picture that fans cannot stop replaying in their minds. And let us be honest, the Cowboys fan base thrives on these moments when possibility hangs in the air thick enough to taste, when every little detail becomes a clue, when every social media post becomes evidence that something huge is around the corner. Even though nothing is officially confirmed, the energy behind this rumor refuses to die down. It grows, reshapes itself, and keeps feeding that feeling that some massive shift is looming just outside the spotlight. What makes this rumor feel even more explosive is how former players have begun chiming in, offering subtle hints that they see something brewing behind closed curtains. They speak carefully, choosing words that neither confirm nor deny, but the spark in their voice is unmistakable. They know what an impact a player like Phillips could have, not just as an athlete, but as a tone setter, someone whose presence changes the entire temperature of a locker room. And that is what has fans pacing with excitement. Cowboys supporters have been craving a defender who brings both intensity and charisma, someone who performs with a level of confidence that bleeds into every corner of the team. Every time a former Cowboy drops a little comment about how this move would fit the identity they are building, the fan base loses its mind all over again. And honestly, who can blame them? When a rumor starts getting reinforcement from people who have lived inside that building, who know how that team thinks, suddenly the speculation stops feeling like fantasy and starts feeling like a future forming right in front of them. Meanwhile, rival teams are keeping a close eye on this swirl of speculation, because even the possibility of Phillips joining the Cowboys forces them to rethink their strategies. Offensive coordinators are reportedly discussing how protections might need to shift, how pre-snap reads will become more complicated, and how quarterbacks would face an entirely different level of pressure from a defense that already had dangerous pieces in place. The idea of adding Phillips to that mix sends waves through film rooms everywhere. And that is part of what makes this rumor so powerful. It does not just affect the Cowboys. It reshapes the calculations of every opponent preparing to face them. Suddenly, every predicted matchup changes, every imagined scenario shifts, every analyst's mental blueprint gets redrawn. People love to say that rumors are just noise, but sometimes that noise becomes loud enough to influence real decisions. And in this case, teams are not waiting for confirmation. They are already preparing for the possibility that the Cowboys' defense may soon become significantly more explosive. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Inside fan communities, the excitement surrounding this potential signing has evolved into full-scale hype, with discussions growing more detailed and dramatic. Some fans are already imagining the highlight reels, dreaming up sack celebrations, and debating which players on the roster would see a surge in production simply by lining up next to Phillips. Others are analyzing how this move could reflect a broader shift in the Cowboys' philosophy, a willingness to invest heavily in creating a defensive identity capable of matching the intensity of their offense. What makes all of this even more compelling is the emotional shift happening within the fan base. Supporters who are feeling cautious, maybe even slightly disillusioned, are suddenly buzzing with that old familiar energy. Hope becomes contagious. The idea of Phillips puts fire back in conversations, lights up live chats, and turns every new detail, no matter how small, into a fuel source that keeps the hype machine roaring. Behind the scenes, the speculation is creating fascinating ripple effects within the Cowboys organization itself, at least according to people familiar with how the franchise operates. When a high-profile rumor like this starts gaining momentum, players inside the building feel it just as intensely as the fans do. They start imagining how their roles might shift, how the defense could evolve, how practices might feel different with someone who brings that kind of destructive presence off the edge. And that awareness can spark something powerful, a rise in competition, a shift in culture, an unspoken challenge to elevate. It is incredible how one rumored signing can make an entire roster straighten up, breathe a little deeper, and prepare for a new internal hierarchy. Phillips is the kind of player who changes the gravitational pull of a defensive unit, and the Cowboys are the kind of franchise that thrives on big personalities and big moments. Even without confirmation, it is clear that this rumor has already changed conversations inside the building. As the rumor reaches a fever pitch, the entire narrative surrounding the Cowboys begins to feel different, heavier, more electrified. Analysts are starting to talk less about what the team has lacked and more about what it could soon become. Fans are not doom-scrolling anymore. Instead, they're imagining possibilities, building futures, discussing potential lineup combinations with the enthusiasm of people who feel something special coming. And that is the magic of moments like this. Moments when a franchise seems to stand at the edge of transformation. The idea of Phillips wearing that star logo carries symbolism beyond football. It represents ambition, boldness, and a refusal to settle for mediocrity. Whether the rumor becomes reality or remains a legendary what if, it has injected life into conversations everywhere. And sometimes that feeling of momentum, that spark of belief, is powerful enough to change the direction of a team before the first snap is even played. Finally, speculation continues to paint Chase Young as a potential game-changer whose influence might extend far beyond any individual stat line or highlight moment. Rumors suggest that his arrival could spark a defensive renaissance, inspiring teammates, altering opposing strategies, and setting a new benchmark for performance in the NFL. Conversations in social media, sports bars, and locker rooms all echo with the same anticipation. Young could redefine what it means to terrorize offensive lines, disrupt plays, and dominate the field in a way that becomes the stuff of legend. Analysts continue to project scenarios in which the Cowboys' defensive line becomes a force so feared that it dictates game plans, influences rivalries, and commands respect across the league. Fans speculate with excitement about the highlight moments that will define his impact, imagining sacks, pressures, and game-changing plays that seem almost inevitable. Inside sources suggest that Young's influence could inspire a new culture of accountability, intensity, and performance within the Cowboys organization, a culture that extends far beyond his personal achievements and permeates every aspect of team dynamics. The buzz is unanimous. Chase Young has arrived, and the NFL landscape may never look the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.